Our next question is maybe our favorite question, I don't know. Retail is changing and evolving. How do you see yourself and your store fitting into the future of retail?
Such a big question.
Big question.
I do agree that it's changing and evolving. 100%.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this in other videos before as well, how like footprints are getting smaller, and obviously online is becoming more of a thing, and
it's like more of a thing and also less of a thing. I think apps, are, like shopping directly from apps is becoming a thing. Like you can shop directly from Instagram, for instance. Or like, someone was just telling me today, like, oh, Nordstrom has a shopping app. You can just shop right from their own personalized app. So that is I think that is one place that we're going. I think more specialized.
Yes.
I don't know why I think that though. Because I think it's a reaction to the fact that in the 90s and the 2000s, every mall you went into had the same things. Every mall had a Gap and a J. Crew and a Banana Republic and a Children's Place and a Orange Julius and a Pretzel Place.
I love Orange
They're like
Julius,
all the same. So whether you were going in a mall in New York City or you were going in a mall in like Decorah, Iowa, they're the same. Yeah. And there's something about that is like, we like dependability, right? We like Starbucks because we know wherever we go we can get the drink we like. But also there's something that feels inauthentic about it because New York City and Decorah, Iowa are not the same.
Right.
So, and also because you start to feel really limited in what's available to you, right? And then a lot of people were like, I don't even like shopping because those options don't work for them. So I think more specialized stores where people, like here, I know who lives in the neighborhood. I know what their lifestyle is like. I know what sizes and ages those kids are.
Right.
So it's more specific. And people know me. They're like, oh, I like her taste in that, you know, or...
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's also becoming more experiential even online. Like people find me or you on Instagram and they're like, I have to go to that store and experience potentially what I'm experiencing on Instagram. Like
I want to go and feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right about that. I'm thinking about all of the... This might not be useful. The overlap right now where you're like, oh, I can put my picture into a filter that'll show me what I look like with red hair, and then if I like it, I go to the store that has... Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's experiential that way, too. It's just, there's different kinds of experiences. But people aren't just shopping for it. They're not like, I want a sweatshirt, I'm going to go to a sweatshirt store, I'm going to buy a sweatshirt, right? They're like,
right.
I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
I want to go in and I want to like discover what the most stylish thing is, or like I want to find out what's new in the world of sustainable fashion. I don't know. How do we fit into it? I think I think I just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And as long as it's working, I will listen to what people want and adapt as things change. But I don't know. I also think subscription services are the future. Where, you know, like Stitch Fix and Blue Apron and there's all kinds of things where they mail you a box. An activity to do, or a collection of clothes, or accessories, or like lifestyle things that you want. It's like, I'm discovering this box of things. I'm having the experience of like opening a box and not knowing what I'm going to get. That's the same feeling you have when you walk into a store not knowing what's going to be in here for me. I don't want to...
It's not the same feeling for me.
It's not. And I don't want to do a subscription box because it seems like a lot of work for...
I mean, I think
results.
subscription boxes are a fad. I think people will get tired of them.
Possibly.
Whereas I think that if you're constantly changing, like your stores, both of our stores, or we're constantly changing over merchandise and merchandising, and every time a person comes in, if they're coming in once every couple of months, things look different and their experience is a little bit different every time. That can be sort of, I hope, it's a little bit addicting.
Right.
Like, you never know what you're going to find if you come in.
That is true. Or like here, there's only one of every size. So if you see it, you're like, I have to get in there.
Yeah.
There's that immediacy. But where is it gonna go?
Where is
Maybe
it gonna go?
I guess I think shopping will never go away 100% because the experience of being in a curated place with pretty things is just an experience
wonderful.
people like.
Yeah, I think so.
But I definitely think it's getting smaller. I also think maybe we're having a reaction to the 90s and 2000s of excess. Like,
Oh yeah,
we
for
can
sure.
buy,
Mhm.
I could buy 100 pairs of baby pajamas for $20.
Can you imagine?
Right, or just like,
So-
because they're so inexpensive or because they're so easily available, I could buy as many as I want. And just knowing, maybe it's where we live, where I live in the city, is small. You can't have 100 pairs of pajamas. It doesn't fit in the drawers. If you have a big enough drawer for that, you have to either have no other clothes or you have to build a bigger house. I mean, so we do a few things and we do them really well. We
Right.
pick the ones we really want. We invest our money more deliberately
Yep.
into, what company do I want to support? What piece am I going to love? Which pajamas are going to last the longest? Instead of buying because I can all of them. Which I do think that there was this feeling in the 90s and the early 2000s, like I can just buy a new
All the things.
I can buy a new white t-shirt every time I need a white t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it'll just be like crisp and pristine.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I think we will adapt. Your store will adapt because now millennials are having babies. I'm hoping to reel in some millennial shoppers as soon as, and whatever the next thing is.
Let's say don't.
Gen Z or whatever.
Perfect.
When they get jobs, I want them to shop at my store, and like appealing social consciousness, right? I think is going to be a big thing coming up, and also just like less is more.
Right. Yeah, which is what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Yeah. So when our generation or the younger ones have babies, they're going to be like, maybe I do want that really fabulous piece that's going to hold up, and maybe not.
Yeah.
Like 10 of those from.
It's like more specific, more strategic. But then once that passes, we might go back to like fashion gluttony, where
For
everybody
sure.
just wants more and more and more.
Absolutely. It's very possible because
It's always a cycle.
these things go in cycles and waves and all the
Yeah.
things.
That is another thing that's on my mind all the time. So stores are quiet right now,
Yeah, very.
and across retail that we know,
Mm-hmm.
it's down, and retail goes in cycles. So there's going to be busy times, and then there's going to be quieter times, and it feels like this is a quieter time.
Yep.
Is it a quieter time that it will? Are we in a valley and we're going to go back up,
Yeah.
or are we reconfiguring
Mm-hmm.
what those waves look like? And we're still at a peak. It's just going to go lower than it has in the past. You don't know. So
That's business. You just don't know which wave you will survive and which wave you will not.
I always say it's the problems you don't expect that are the ones that sink you. The things you see
Sure.
coming, you can handle.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Absolutely.
that they dug a hole under the sidewalk and you can no longer, you legitimately cannot walk.
Didn't get an
to
email
your
about
car.
that.
You can't get there unless
didn't-
you want to, I don't know, it's like a 6-foot deep hole. So,
It's a big hole.
yeah. So those are the things you don't expect. Wasn't warned, couldn't predict, and
Hence, I've seen very few people today.
we have plenty of time to do videos today
We
because no
do.
one can get here.
Nobody can get here, so
Yeah, so,
that's fun.
but I think when you sign up for retail, you just know that you don't have control over a lot of things.
Right.
You have to just roll with that.
Yeah.
That's not untrue of every other field,
Sure. Right.
or really any part of life.
Yep.
It just seems loud
It's
in
very
retail.
It's very loud, and I think going into it, you do think if I'm organized enough, or if I'm this enough, or I'm that enough, or if I don't know. I even watching you and Heidi do your businesses, I just thought I'll make it easier on myself somehow.
Well, that's funny. I didn't think that. I thought,
It's
I
been
might do
terrible.
the best job ever and it would still fail. Or plenty of people do a just okay job and succeed. So it's only your own contribution is only one part of the recipe, right? It's like baking.
Mm-hmm.
You put in all the right things and you think you've got all the measurements right.
Yeah.
But
Don't know.
sometimes the result is unpredictable.
Well, the majority of small businesses do fail.
Yeah. I just was listening to an amazing podcast from NPR called How I Built This, and it's all entrepreneurs and the things that they're building, and I'm finding it very inspiring. But the statistic that was in one episode was that 1.7% of women-owned businesses ever make, it's not even profit, ever make
$1 million in sales.
in revenue
In revenue.
over the lifetime of the business. It was like 1.7%. What? That is just bananas to me.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna do it.
I am gonna
You're
do it.
you're on your way there. You're
I'm gonna do it.
pretty darn close.
Yeah, which I mean does not put me in the top 1.7% of successful businesses for sure, but is a weird metric.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But fascinating.
All right, I think that's it. I think we've answered all of Audra's questions.
Or at least all the ones that we wanted to answer.
Yeah, we're skipping a few.
Sorry,
Full
Audrey.
disclosure, we're skipping one piece of advice you would give your younger self because neither of our younger selves would listen to anything that we had to say.
Absolutely would not listen. No.
What's the point?
What is
You
the
live
point?
and learn. The learning is all part of the process, right? Yeah. Okay.